Dear friends, I'm very happy to join all of you this evening for an event which I'm not really familiar with. But I was invited by Robin, and he wrote such a beautiful letter, I could not say no to him. This new media is very exciting. It's also very new to me, but so far it has opened up a whole new perspective in my life. And I think it has the same effect on a lot of people. Recently, I was in Tibet. I took the train from Xining to Lhasa, a 24-hour journey. From Qinghai to Xizang, we had to cross a very high mountain pass, the Tanggula Pass, over 5,000 meters. It was a long journey. I had a headache because of low oxygen. Looking at my iPhone desultorily. Then suddenly, I noticed 2 bars on my iPhone. So I said, oh, I can Twitter. So I tweeted saying, just crossed the 5,000 meter Tanggula Pass. Because Twitter has this facility where once I tweet, it updates my status on my Facebook accounts. So it reached many people. And one friend asked, are you flying? Then the signal went off until we approached Lhasa. You know, a new technology opens up new possibilities and rearranges the competitive dynamics in human society. A long time ago, the Chinese had a great advantage in paper technology. Because paper means bandwidth, means storage. Brush, based upon ink. And the production of that ink in itself was a marvel. I was talking to a nanotechnologist last year, and he told me this. He said the Chinese way of producing ink using soot, in fact, it's a manipulation of nanoparticles. And how they collect that soot, compress it, make it into ink, then with a brush, wet it, use it right on paper. A speed and a bandwidth no other civilization came close to. And this gave Chinese civilization a huge advantage in terms of governance, in terms of recording weather patterns, river levels, flood patterns, production of farmlands, for which a central bureaucracy was created. And this went on for centuries, a closely guarded secret. Until in the 8th century, the Arab armies were moving eastwards towards the Tian Shan Mountains. And there they met the Tang army. At that time, under a Korean general, an ethnic Korean general, Gao Xianzhi. And the Arabs defeated the Chinese army, captured a few who knew the secret of making paper. And that event changed Islamic civilization, because once it had the technology to write, to print, to communicate, their calligraphy changed. Within a few years, in Samarkand, in Bukhara, in Damascus, in Baghdad, they established paper factories. And from there, they exported paper to Europe. And much later, you had the Renaissance because of it. When there is a new technology which changes the way we communicate, exploiting it is not a matter of choice. It is a matter of necessity, because it opens up new ways of organization. It creates possibilities not possible before. You take, for example, handicapped people, blind people, deaf people, paraplegics, old people. In the past, they had to depend upon the young and the fit to bring them around. And it was very frustrating because they had to depend on others. Now, they have access, they roam the world. And for them, it is a great liberation. But more than the psychological dimension, it also enables them to contribute economically. So moving with the new media is very important. And if we are behind, we are at a great disadvantage. Being an early mover confers us a competitive advantage. And it is because the competitive dynamic is so important that usually for such new technologies, the militaries are the most advanced. I mean, the internet was itself the result of experiments and research in communication by the US defense establishment. Once it's there, then of course it gets commercialized and it spreads. So we have now this new media universe before us. But although some things have changed, some things don't. Our biological nature has not changed. The human being today, biologically, is not very different from the human being who lived 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. The mind may have advanced, but the heart remains the same. And if you read Hong Lo Meng, which I read in English, unfortunately not in Chinese, the human condition has not changed. And therefore, on the internet, the things which are quintessentially human cannot change. Friendships, trust, these things do not change. And I'd like to make one point here. That for those of us who are in that new media, establishing trust is as important in that universe as it is in a parallel universe of reality. Trust, which is very difficult to build up, can be easily destroyed. Trust means predictability, means values, means protocols, means a certain courtesy, means enforcement, means punishment, means rewards, gradually built up layer by layer. That omy has achieved a certain success is because it has achieved a certain level of trust among bloggers. And we can be sure, looking ahead, that those who succeed, whether as bloggers or as websites or as web aggregators, they succeed because over time they've established a reputation of trust. This is what we try to achieve in Singapore as a jurisdiction. This is what we try to attach to the Singapore name as a trust mark. We have that. I think this new technology will be a big boost for us. Something precious, something which we can move from the real world to the cyber world. But I'm delighted to be with all you this evening, eager to hear the results of the blog competition, and would like to say how inspired I am by many young people who encouraged me to get into the internet, like Ephraim, like Harold, like Wei King and Steve and others, who as it were held my hand because I was fearful, apprehensive, unsure, and gradually, in fact quite quickly, was able to walk by myself. Thank you very much, and I wish you all great excitement.